All right, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and go live and just dive straight into it. What's going on, you all? Um, no real theme song for this one because this one is pretty sad. This one is pretty sad. uh, yeah, this was pretty sad. So I just give you all a chance to come on in. Yeah, this was gonna be pretty sad. And yes, I'm playing the music. You said I'm really setting the mood with the music. I can't even laugh as much as I want to. I can't. So we're gonna talk about. Yeah, I'm pulling out my mic. I actually like the mic. It's actually nice. So yeah, I'm gonna actually change the setting on this to switch to the mic. Sorry, I should have had this set up. What's going on? So we're gonna talk about a situation that occurred in Navy Pier because this was pretty sad. It's pretty sad. No, I don't think the baby died yet, but we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, he's on life support. Yeah. All right. All right. Is that better? We just do a mic check. Is that better? Yeah. Yeah. This is gonna be pretty sad. All right. So I don't know if there were details. Yeah, I don't know if there were details put out about this, but I happened to actually listen to the bond proffer. Let me turn the music down at least a little bit. There we go. So yes. So I'm gonna detail some of the things that happened to. No, it wasn't the. Was it the aunt? I don't think it was the aunt. I think it was one of the other aunts. Yeah, I'm not expecting the baby to make it either. So, due to the graphic nature of what we're about to talk about, listener discretion is advised. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what was proffered in this, and we're gonna have a discussion about this because after listening to the bond proffer, I've got questions. So bear in mind, I can't see the comments because I'm looking at the actual presentation, but I will be back to the comments. So let's get to the facts of this case. Okay, the facts of the case. You said yes, it was the aunt. Yes, this is the second time. Okay, so the facts of this case, and this is according to the bond proffer that was proffered by the assistant state's attorney. There was leave to file a discretionary no bail petition pursuant to section 110-6.1 of the Illinois bail statute. The defendant in this case is a resident of Des Plaines. The victim's mother, the victim's grandmother, the maternal aunt and cousins all live in the house. On the day of the incident, the family was present in the home. The defendant was in the residence awaking her own two children on the day in question. The grandmother went into the room to change her clothes, and it was at that time when no one was present in the kitchen area, the defendant in question stole the keys and actually grabbed the 3-year-old child and snuck out of the residence without anyone noticing. I've got questions. Here we go. The family does not allow the defendant to drive the family truck because of the medication that she takes because of her mental health issues. There was a previous incident as proffered by the Cook County State's Attorney, not Kim Fox, but the Assistant State's Attorney in this case, that the defendant took the victim and 2 nieces, ages 11 and 2, to Navy Pier before, without the permission of the family. The 11-year-old had the presence of mind to call the family, or actually send a pin and drop a pin regarding their location, where the family was able to come to Navy Pier and then pick the children up. So this wasn't the first time that this occurred. To me, that's extremely troubling. That you knew that this occurred and there appeared to be no, where were the keys at? Where was the person who should have kept the special eyeball on this person? You know this is what they will do because they've done it before. So at 11:15 a.m., the family searches the entire Des Plaines area, but doesn't come up with anything. And there's a specialized license plate they were looking for on the back of that family truck. The defendant drove to Chicago and attempted to get into the John G. Shedd Aquarium, but they were denied entry because she only had cash and no credit card. After 12 p.m., the defendant pulled into Navy Pier parking garage west with the victim. And if you know about that, there's a long road that you go down, and it's the first entrance to your right. So then after parking the vehicle, the defendant gets out with the 3-year-old and goes to the McDonald's, purchasing a Happy Meal with a frappe, and then she has a frappe herself. And this is all seen on surveillance video. After eating, they then get up from the McDonald's and go out of the doors, where they begin to walk, not get inside of the car, but walk out towards the drive. And there's a long drive that goes down to several parking garages and towards the Aeon Ballroom. After eating, the child was in a position where the child was walking ahead of the defendant, to the point where the child almost got hit by a vehicle coming out of the parking garage. I don't know how many of you all have paid attention to what's on the right side as you begin to exit that garage, but I've often gone there because I've been there with my children's books and stuff like that, and you will often see people on that. There's a walkway, there's the barricades, the concrete barricades, and then there's a walkway, and then there's a set of chains, if you will, to keep people from falling over into the pier and falling into Lake Michigan. People fish. Well, the defendant grabs the victim and walks towards the sidewalk closest towards the water. And at that location, like I stated before, there's a set of chains serving as a barrier to keep cars from getting too close to the water. So the victim, being 3 years old, gets on all 4 hands and knees, and there's 3 feet beyond the chain where the platform drops off into Lake Michigan, and then from the drop off, it's 6.5 feet into the water. The child falls, but the defendant grabs the feet only because there were onlookers in the immediate vicinity. So then, because The defendant sees the multiple times, that people are seeing it. Then they begin to walk away and, say, she got it. So they begin to walk away. And then the defendant looks multiple times, waiting for those people to actually leave. And you can see this on camera as proffered by the Cook County State's Attorney, the Assistant State's Attorney. The defendant looks one more time, excuse me. And then after seeing no one, the defendant allows the victim to crawl back towards the edge of the platform, taking absolutely no action. The defendant looked around again, ensuring no one was in the immediate area. The defendant climbs over the chain partition, straddles herself over the victim, and with both hands pushes him off the platform into Lake Michigan. The defendant then sat down, staring, looking into Lake Michigan as the victim was drowning. Didn't last long, because seconds after that, she got up and starts walking towards a nearby stop sign and stood there again, taking no emergency action. Now, there were some people who were close by who actually heard the baby hit the water. And they begin to run towards the defendant, asking her what happened. She gives them no information at all. Two of them. One begins to call the police, and the other begins to go and try to find a life raft. The defendant sat down again, staring into Lake Michigan. At that time, the victim was on the surface of the water on his back. Those of you all who don't know, babies at first, they can kind of, I don't want to say survive on the water, but they kind of can make a go of it, but there's only so much they can take. So then the baby begins to vomit food and water, and then the defendant did nothing at that time. No help, claiming that she had no phone or her person. Several minutes after the defendant pushed the victim into the water, after vomiting twice, the victim begins to sink into the water. All this is captured on surveillance. The life raft is thrown into the water in case the victim happens to resurface, but as a 3-year-old, they're not doing that. The victim did not resurface. Not once did this defendant attempt to help. Upon the police arrival, the defendant pretended not to know anything about the child, saying she saw him trip and fall into the water. And witnesses alerted police about the incident and stated that she was the only person in the immediate vicinity at the time the victim was thrown into the water. The victim was retrieved at the bottom of Lake Michigan by the Chicago Fire Department scuba team approximately 30 minutes after being pushed and rushed to a nearby hospital. The victim sustained multiple injuries, a swollen brain, bleeding in his lungs, sustained multiple seizures, cardiac arrest, heart infusion by the heart being depressed after being underwater for so long. The victim has been diagnosed with post-cardiac arrest syndrome, is currently on a ventilator, and not expected to survive these extensive injuries. Doctors have stated at that time, and probably still maintain to this day, that the baby is not expected to really survive this. and more charges are expected if the victim's condition worsens. This is very sad. Now, you did answer a question. Why didn't anyone jump in? Well, I can tell you, having been a former lifeguard when I was 15, 16 years old, actually from 15 to 17, I was a former lifeguard. It takes a lot to actually be able to jump in after a baby or anyone, especially from that high drop. You actually have to dive in feet first, not head first, because sometimes you don't know the depth. Had I been there, would I honestly have jumped in? Yeah, I would have. It would have been spontaneous for me to do that. Not everybody has that capacity to be able to do that. But here are the questions that I had. Who protects the children? If you knew that she has an unstable mental history, and when someone shows you who they are and believe them, this isn't the first time she's done this. She took the 3-year-old and the 11 and the 2-year-old before without your permission. See, I'm not one of those ones who avoids victim blaming. I'm not one of those ones, because I look for preventative methods that could have been put in place to protect the life of this 3-year-old baby who did not deserve this. Extremely troubling. Extremely troubling. Where did the info of the events before the child went over? Did someone witness it and do nothing? I don't know when you just came in this, but yeah, we kind of went over those events, and those are obviously things that were seen and presumptions that could be made, because this is what was seen on surveillance camera. Why didn't the parents keep the baby next to them? That's okay, Curtis, no issue. You said Auntie took the child with no one's knowledge. Well, let's go there. Did Auntie take the child with no one's knowledge if this happened before already? I mean, if you know, remember what was proffered in the bond proffer. Let me go back to that, because I think it's important to look at some of these things that was proffered, things that they know to be true because of questions that had been asked before throughout the course of this investigation. The family does not allow the defendant to drive because of the medication she takes because of mental health issues. They cite a previous incident where the defendant took the victim and the 2 nieces, ages 11 and 2, to Navy Pier, same location, without permission of the family. The 11-year-old called the family and notified them where they were at on the pier, sent a pin to the phone of their location so they could be picked up by the family. So If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. If you say you don't allow her to drive because of the medication, see, I listened to the mitigation proffered by the defense attorney, and they are going to use the insanity defense. They're going to use the insanity defense. I wouldn't be surprised. But in wanting to use the insanity defense, who in their sane mind is going to put protections around to keep these babies safe? I agree with you, CC. She knew what she was doing. It was very calculated. Very calculated. She shouldn't have been allowed anywhere near them. Elvis Fan Forever says, I just can't imagine letting anyone like that around my child. You have to be totally aware of who is around your child. The parent, any parent, has a responsibility to protect the children. Thank you very much. If they did not want her to drive, why would they leave the keys around? I victim blame. There is a theory called victim precipitation in the study of criminology. And that is the things that people do that make it more likely for a person to become a victim of a crime. So what, if anything, can we say these persons who have a duty to protect the 11-year-old, the 2-year-old, 3-year-old, any children, what can we say that they failed to do when this person showed you that they would take your children without your permission? Who's going to protect you? When I tell you, I wished I could let you hear the bond proffer. I listened to plenty of bond proffers. Plenty. I listen to bond court every day, almost. And when I tell you that the assistant state attorney had to fight back tears, you could hear it in her voice. You could hear it as though she was crying out for the little 3-year-old child, wanting someone to help. Y'all understand why I push so hard in my advocacy for children, and not in just my advocacy for children, but in my advocacy for healing parents who are still children themselves. Just because you are anatomically an adult does not mean you have it all together. There was a young lady who reached out to me in my inbox after she had had her firearms taken away from her because she's 21 years of age, is the mother of 2 children, young children. And she called the suicide hotline not because she wanted to delete herself permanently, but because the pressure of raising 2 young children was far more than she could bear. And the hotline was the only thing that she could reach out to. Garcia, what do you mean? And I'm just going to ask you that question. I'm not going to continue off my message because of your statement. Diane Johnson says, this is the second baby I've heard this week to suffer at the hands of an adult this week. A little 4-year-old baby died at the hands of her mother's boyfriend. See, that's why I'm glad I allowed myself the room to give you the space to be able to speak, Garcia. I struggle with PTSD and am a good father. This is what Garcia is saying. There are so many people who wish they had someone to talk to. So many people who wish they had someone who cared. We don't know the dynamics of the relationship within that family in displays. There are a lot of misunderstood people who have children because they want someone to care for them, because they need someone to care for them. And who better to care for them than a child, who by virtue of the mother-child connection is an automatic need. But it may not feel the need entirely. Hey, the hotline, I believe you meant to say not home. I was going to delete myself at that time, but they would listen when I called. I was alone and nobody. I was 14. I think you said that hotline hit home. And for you, pro-animal lover, I understand. I'm not knocking the hotline at all. But there are some people who just need someone to talk to. I encourage you all to perhaps consider making yourself available to someone. If we could just Yes. Oh my God. That hotline barely helped. They're so quick to push unavailable, overbooked resources. So many folks are isolated during the pandemic. It's horrible. So many alone and suffering. There's so much I can say, but all in all, I agree with you. To say the kid, it's just sad that the hotline is all they have, but they should be able to physically see and talk with someone. And that's why I'm urging you as much as I can. I am available because of the 12-step program. Sharing our secrets is what we do. I'm just giving you all time to put your comments out there because this is the stuff that I hope that someone hears later and watches this. I think that there is so much pressure on parents to be perfect, especially mothers, that oftentimes reaching out feels like a failure or an embarrassment. But I want you to understand that, and I just said this in an earlier live, the minute that you release yourself from the opinions of what people may think about you in reaching out, you'll be surprised the kind of help you may get. Ooh, Paul Storm. It was with me, it was my kind gaming friends. I didn't know them, but anytime I needed to let out all my pain, they would listen. I don't know where I'd be without them. I was lucky to find such good friends. 2 years ago, I tried to push sex children trafficking. I ended up getting followed and threatened. This whole thing got a lot deeper, and the fight is hard. It killed my soul. Would it be too much trouble if you just made yourself available to somebody you know that's closest to you? Porky says, I convinced my best friend not to delete himself. He was such in a bad state. I cried every time we spoke. Mr. O says, I can guarantee you that there isn't a person on earth who doesn't need help from someone. Please consider reaching out to someone. Please consider, this is one of the reasons why when people call me, if I'm available for the most part, I'm talking to them. Because you just never know. Just to be a listening ear and to provide your help and slight guidance to be all the difference in the world to a person. Dorothy Upshaw, I volunteer for a crisis center. I just received my mental health coach certification and waiting on my board certification. We value you. I'm alerts, calling in, checking on my loved ones, but it's been a minute. Anyone reaches out to me, My sister started recently, and I appreciate it. I love checking in on people. I do this from time to time. CC, you said, I haven't had any personal experience with anyone with mental illness, but I feel like this was preventable, especially when the family was aware of her mental illness and she's done this before. I wholeheartedly agree with you. We also need to stop the stigmatism around people who want to seek therapy. I agree. Please consider reaching out, hugging your loved ones, and making yourself available for people How about this? Start saying hi. Start saying hi. Just start talking to people. That one thing could be the difference between a person deciding to delete themselves, delete someone else. We don't know what was going through her brain. We really don't. Though what she did was a horrific act, and that 3-year-old baby did not deserve this, I will not cast her into the sea like she did that 3-year-old baby. Something motivated her to do that. Something motivated her to do that. Patricia Booth. I'm a psych nurse and have always been there for my patients, family and friends as well. My nephew took his life in June. It's been a helpless feeling, and I wish I knew he was struggling. Telling you all, there are a lot of people who are just one trigger away, one major life event away from taking certain irreversible, irreparable action. Leah 1992 says, you're probably one of the toughest kinds of nurses out there, Patricia. I'm sorry for your loss. And thank you for all that you do for others. Yeah, I won't throw her away like she did this 3-year-old. I can't. Because me having talked to as many people that I have, everybody is fighting something. Everybody is fighting something. Can we make a commitment to find, and of course you have to use discernment, I understand. Can we make a commitment to at least, outside of checking on your loved ones and hugging them and at least letting them know they matter, can we just find a random stranger and just tell them that you matter? If you can endure the pain, you will find your purpose in the process. And I just want to tell you, hello. And that you matter. If we can commit to that. You sometimes don't understand the value that your words can have to a person who feels that no one pays attention to them. I think we can get around calling it mental illness. Why not seek mental wellness or wholeness? I know I wouldn't like to be labeled just to talk to someone. And this is the thing. I agree with you. I agree with you because remember a couple of shows back where I was talking about anger management? The more trauma that you have gone through, the more coping mechanisms you need. The more trauma you have gone through, the more positive coping mechanisms you need. Anger management classes, having a hobby, finding something that makes you happy, a positive outlet. A positive outlet. Sometimes just talking to, I love it when I do anger management. Question. If I were to start a Zoom anger management awareness group where you had the space to talk safely, a no judgment space by way of Zoom, how many of you would come? Drop a number 1 in the comments. I'm serious. If you would like to be added to that group, I'm going to give you my number for you to text me. I'm going to give you my number for you to text me, and I'm going to start that group. It's going to be extremely consistent. It's going to be on a date and time where we can consistently meet on Zoom and just talk and support each other. Seven 644 5000. 773 644 5000. Text me your name and your email address. 773 644 5000. Text me your name and your email address. Seven seven three 644 5000. Text me your name and your email address, and I will send you the link, and we will have the schedule. We need this space. We all do. It's right here. 773 644 5000. Text your name and your email address. I see them coming through. I see them coming through. Let's get this going. Let's get this going. Let's get this going. Oh. Let's get this going. 773 644 5000. Your name and your email address. We don't know what this lady was going through. We don't know. We don't know what got her to the situation where she had to start taking mental health medication. Do you understand that there have been parents who have put their children on medication solely so they could get a check? Told this child over and over again that you are this, you are that, you have these problems. I can't believe you. You must be crazy. And you're saying this over and over and over and over again. And you talked this child into believing she or he was crazy. And they became the thing that you spoke into their life. So that you as a parent could benefit from them fitting the profile of someone in that illness. So I dare not look upon this lady and say that she has true mental health issues when there are other people who make people crazy. And who knew? Maybe this was her only way to get some kind of attention. Yes, it is cruel. That is what people do to get attention when they feel often ignored. And if only she had someone to talk to. We don't know if in fact that's the case. But this was calculated. This was calculated. It wasn't random. Calculated. It was calculated. 773-644-5000. Name and email address if you want to be a part of this anger management awareness focus group. And this is not to state that you have anger issues, but the more trauma you have, the more coping mechanisms you need. Positive coping mechanisms. Positive. All right, you all. We're going to end it here. Oh, why you trigger it, Deep South? Dude, so many men are afraid to come out with their issues. Hopefully, this helps. I hope so. I look forward to every last one of you all who sent me your name and your email address. I look forward to you all coming in on this group by the way of Zoom, and I look forward to your participation. I leave you with this. Look for one true resource. If you bring more than one, that would be awesome. But look for one true resource, be it a food pantry, a shelter, clothing, voices, someone positive to talk to, even this group. I don't want us to just be about talk. I want us to be about being resourceful, where a person can come in and get true help. True help. True help. Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. You all have an awesome night. Let's make this happen.